99.7 FM.
The news is live on Joy 99.7 FM. The crowd is live on Love 99.5 in Kumasi, MyJoyOnline.com and affiliates in all 16 regions of Ghana, including Akpini FM Pando, Kitawan FM Saboba, ATL FM in Cape Coast, Space FM Takwa, Gaskia FM in Tichiman, and Radio Somali in Wa. Live on X Spaces, Facebook and YouTube. The Midday News is supported by Petrosol Platinum Energy, energizing dreams. Coming up, John Dramani Mahama commits to ethical and listening leadership as he marks 1 year anniversary since resuming his hold on the reins of power as president of Ghana.
The work we have begun is far from finished, but today reminds us that progress is not measured only by numbers and by charts and diagrams. It is also measured by hope that is restored, by trust that is rebuilt, and correct direction that is regained.
We'll also hear the assessment of citizens of the president's first year in office.
As
a businessman, I can say for a fact that things are smoother now. Change is good. I'm happy about the city's stability.
Plus, we'll speak to some analysts on the performance of the president's first year in office. Also coming up, Ghana's inflation rate has hit a low point of 5.4% in December 2025, which is the lowest in 13 years.
Year-on-year inflation rate of 5.4% for December 2025. This means that on average, goods and services cost 5.4% more.
Also in the bulletin, Ghana marks 33 years of uninterrupted constitutional rule amid calls to amend the guiding document to reflect the nation's values, needs and aspirations. But MP for Mention South, Naneje Bafwewa, has a caution. We bring you details of that in sports.
Black Stars forward Antoine Semenyo is set to make his final Bournemouth appearance ahead of a move to Manchester City.
These and more with me, Maame Esi Nyamekye Thompson. This is Joy News Independent, fearless and credible. We'll be back. Let's get into the details now. President John Mahama is today marking his first full year in office since returning to the presidency. The president commemorated the anniversary at the Jubilee House with a prayer and thanksgiving service. On 7 January last year, the president took the oath of office for his second term, promising to deliver a reset agenda and changing the economic fortunes of the country. We'll take you live to the presidency shortly. First, though, here's a news desk report chronicling Mr. Mahama's comeback.
John Mahama's extraordinary political journey saw him govern between 2012 and January 2017, suffer a heavy defeat in 2016, narrowly lose again in 2020, and then stage one of the most emphatic political comebacks in Ghana's history, winning the 2024 election by a margin of about 1.7 million votes.
I, John Dramani Mahama,
do in the name of the Almighty God swear.
do in the name of the Almighty God swear that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Republic of Ghana as by law established, that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of Ghana, and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Since returning to the presidency, the country has witnessed a series of major political, economic, and social development under President Mahama's reset agenda. On governance, the president has formed a lean administration, capping the number of ministers at 60. He also inaugurated an 8-member Constitution Review Committee to review the 1992 Constitution. The committee has since submitted its report. One of the most controversial decisions so far has been the removal of Chief Justice Gertrude Araba Isaba Tokuno, a move that has triggered strong reaction from some civil society organizations and opposition parties. Economically, the government has scrapped several so-called nuisance taxes, including the e-levy, COVID-19 levy, and the betting tax. It has also established the Ghana Gold Board and stepped up efforts to curb gold smuggling.
Let's go now to the Jubilee House and speak to Presidential Affairs correspondent Maxwell Ogbagba. Maxwell, tell us about the mood at the event earlier this morning and the persons who attended.
Well, Maame Esi, currently, a majority of the people have returned to their workstations at the Jubilee House. Some of the attendees I'm seeing here are dressed in white. President Mahama, the Vice President, and several government appointees wore white to commemorate the day. The event was attended by members of the clergy, school children, members of the diplomatic corps, government officials, the IGP, and many others. Some of the government appointees who I've been speaking to, even as they give thanks to God for 1 year in office, and many of them who I spoke to convey a sense that there's so much work ahead and they remain committed to the task.
Well, Maxwell, the president says a year ahead will demand even more from Ghanaians. Tell us more.
Yes, Maame Esi, he said today is not a celebration of power. He says it's a moment of thanksgiving for the opportunity to serve the people of Ghana, and that today is not a declaration of triumph. He says although a lot of progress has been made, more will be demanded in this year.
The work we have begun is far from finished, but today reminds us that progress is not measured only by numbers and by charts and diagrams. It is also measured by hope that is restored, by trust that is rebuilt, and correct direction that is regained.
Well, Maxwell, you're still with us. Some members of the diplomatic community also spoke to you. What was their assessment?
Well, many of them were present here at the event. The key amongst those who were present at the event was the UK's High Commissioner to Ghana. I also spoke to the Moroccan ambassador to Ghana, who also serves as the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps in Ghana. And she said they are all impressed with the president's first year in office.
Impressed. I'm the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, so we are all very much impressed with His Excellency's first year in office, and we are really looking forward to what he can do next and every year for Ghana and for Ghanaians, and we are very hopeful. And we thank him for a very beautiful ceremony. We really enjoyed. Thank you very much.
Meanwhile, at Abosokai, the establishment of the CD, reduced taxes, and a generally calmer economic environment. These are the reasons spare part dealers at the market are giving the Mahama-led administration a positive rating after its first year in office. Adobe Asari, what's there?
Fantastic. To me, you know, semi-rating 1 year, actually.
I think the Mahama-led administration is working really hard. As a businessman, I can say for a fact that things are smoother now as compared to how things were in the era of previous administration. I'd give him an 85% rating. President John Mahama is really working hard. He should completely ignore naysayers and keep the economy afloat like he's doing. Change is good. I'm happy about the city's stability. We really need him to work on our roads and transport system for us. I want to see the 24-hour economy policy in full force so that I can hire more workers. My favorite minister right now is Atuforsen. He's doing very well. I also like Atuforsen. I like Sam George for the reduction in DSTV subscription prices.
Well, to the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi, where residents are offering mixed but largely positive assessments of the Mahama administration, a year on many residents are rating his performance as high as 90%.
Whilst they describe the first-year administration's performance as stellar, the mixed reactions still weigh on whether the early months' improvements are temporary or not. They indicated that they will be watching closely to see how the next 3 years unfold.
Mama buy what it normal so petrol what gas so even though safer ni dollar kwa what it so.
Mahama's governance has been phenomenal. There has been drastic reduction in goods and services. The exchange rate is all-time stable. Now importers are relieved. It's a lie to say he hasn't performed well. He should continue this speed to be grateful sometime.
University
percentage bia mema 90% because
I did not vote for Mahama, but I have to appreciate how he has performed in the last year. However, the assessment came with some opposition sympathizers who rated the president's performance at just 2%, citing concerns of alleged abuse of power and false reduction of goods and services.
Well, joining me now is economist Professor Bokping. We're grateful for your time on the Midday News. The economy was a major part of John Mahama's campaign. What is your own assessment of his performance so far?
Well, thank you very much. Happy New Year to you and our cherished listeners. Well, yes, the economy was a topical issue in the run-up to the 2024 general elections. Yes, and when we look at the economy, there are different aspects of the economy. I think overall, within the 12 months of assuming power, the president has done quite well. Many of the indicators confirm that the economy is heading in the right direction. We cannot take that away from him. We've seen economic discipline. We've seen fiscal discipline. We've seen prudent and largely judicious use of our fiscal resources, the expenditure cuts, the commitment control, commitment authorization, the Minister of Finance has institutionalized. Then we've also seen strong policy coordination between the fiscal and then the monetary. And then, of course, supported strongly by external factors in terms of uptick in commodity prices. So, from that perspective, I think that the president has checked the box largely.
But ultimately, sustaining those gains are what people care about now. How does government ensure the stability continues?
Yes, so that's the important thing. And in there, you want to look at the quality of the performance, the quality of the economic turnaround. You want to see whether the turnaround is inclusive and whether the growth we have seen is also job-rich, whether the employment growth relationship has strengthened. I do not think so. If you look at the discussions in the run-up to 2024 general elections, unemployment was a big issue because even in 2024, growth was quite strong, higher than the projected under the IMF program. But the problem was that we were recording or celebrating jobless growth. Poverty was very high. More than 25% of Ghanaians, as at 2024, were successfully unemployed. Or were poor, let me put it that way, were in the extreme poverty bracket. Close to 13.5% of the youth, largely in the employment bracket, were successfully unemployed, regardless of the program that they pursued in the tertiary institutions. Unemployment overall was more than 14%, and it was very high among females and all of that. And then the other bit also is that close to approximately 13.2% of the population were food insecure. So all these things overall, we've seen the economy in the right direction, but we are not seeing this translating to greater poverty reduction.
Thank you very much, Professor Godfred Bokping there. Now, Ghana's inflation rate has hit a 13-year low at 5.4% in December 2025, beating central bank's target. The Ghana Statistical Service data shows this is the lowest since CPI rebasing, with food inflation at 4.9% and non-food at 5.8%. His government statistician, Dr. Alhassan Idrisu, making a presentation of the data.
The CPI for December 2025 stood at 261.7, up from 248.3 in December 2024, translating into a year-on-year inflation rate of 5.4% for December 2025. This means that on average, goods and services cost 5.4% more than they did in December 2024. This result is significant as inflation has now declined for 12 consecutive months. It is also the lowest inflation rate since the CPI was rebased in 2021.
Away from that, 30 years ago, Ghana's 1992 constitution came into force, steering the nation towards democracy. But as time's gone by, whispers and shouts have grown louder to amend the guiding document to make the constitution relevant, reflecting shifts in the nation's values and aspirations. We'll get to that shortly, but first, here's a report on how that document came into effect.
Ghana's 1992 constitution was adopted to bring an end to years of military rule and restore democratic governance. Between 1981 and 1992, the country was governed by the Provisional National Defense Council, PNDC, following the December 31 coup. During this period, the nation had no constitution in force, political parties were banned, and democratic institutions were suspended, raising concerns about accountability, human rights, and the rule of law. As public dissatisfaction grew, pressure mounted from civil society organizations, religious and professional bodies, and the international community for a return to constitutional rule. These demands set the stage for a transition to democracy. In response, the PNDC initiated reforms in the early 1990s, including the establishment of a committee of experts in 1991 to draft a new constitution.
Well, a few weeks ago, the Constitution Review Committee presented its report to President Mahama. The President, upon receiving the report, announced that he would establish an implementation committee early this year, and some members of the commission or committee will be invited to serve on the implementation committee to bring institutional memory. Listen to Chairman of the Constitutional Review Committee, Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh, explaining what went into the committee's work as we celebrate Constitution Day today.
We have actually accumulated a number of different experiences. As of 2011, when the big report was done, we had never had even an election petition before.
Yes.
Shortly thereafter, we were to have the first one, and then we've had a second one. Those are experiences that shape our understanding of how certain parts of the Constitution are working.
Member of Parliament for Menchia South, Naneje Balfoewa, has described the Constitution as fairly successful but warns against the holistic amendment of the Constitution. He spoke to Joy News.
We should go past an experiment, right? Or we should go past holistic or substantial experiment. What we have is working. Parts of it which are not working, you touch them. And so, yes, I would support parts of the constitutional reforms proposal, right? But I would not support a substantial amendment. And indeed, even with the Constitutional Review Committee, I wait to see the explanatory notes, right, as to what has informed the proposal choices, because it is not only an amendment they are proposing. They are also proposing that it should be amended, to capture a certain effect.
You're still listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. We'll take a break. When we return, we have sports, and also Ghana marks farmers in the Upper West region face severe hardship as thousands of bags of maize remain unsold in warehouses across the country.
Last year, at this time, maize was 500 Ghana cedis a bag, but this year, like this, even 300, you will not get.
Many people will drop out from the farming this year.
We never enjoy anything from the buffer stock.
Well, Welcome back to the Midday News, the sports.
Yeah, thank you very much, Maame Esi. Antoine Semenyo is set to undergo a medical at Manchester City, with the move expected to be completed before Saturday. City have agreed to meet the £65 million release clause of the Ghanaian forward, who has scored 9 goals and provided 3 assists this season. Semenyo is expected to make his final Bournemouth appearance tonight against Spurs. Transfer expert David Onston has more.
That's basically the agreement that was struck between all parties, the two clubs and the player, that he would take part in Bournemouth's matches against Chelsea, Arsenal and Tottenham before heading on his way, after he reached an agreement or decided of all the suitors that he wanted to join. And then after that, I would expect the steps to be taken to try and get that one wrapped up. It's not completed yet, but there's every expectation it will be. Pep Guardiola is going to have Antoine Semenyo at his disposal for the second half of the season, which I think will excite Manchester City fans and a lot of neutrals like myself who have come to really admire Semenyo. He's one of the most productive players, attackers in the Premier League.
Yeah, so David Onston is a football transfer expert. Back to you, Maame Esi.
Thank you, Mubarak. Now, the University of Ghana appears to be dragging its feet 2 days after the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission told public universities to scrap a fee hike, with students still paying 25% more for the 2026 academic year. And Collins Frimpong joins me in the studio with more on this. Collins, what were the demands from GTech?
Right, so in a letter dated January 5, 2026, signed by the Director General of GTech, Professor Ahmed Jinapo, stated public universities or public funded universities cannot review student fees without adhering to proper procedures, including seeking parliamentary approval as mandated by law. So therefore, the university must credit all continuing students who have overpaid compared to last academic year's fees for the next academic year. The statement again stated that the university should refund the difference to final year students who have paid in excess of the fees for last academic year and revert all dues, including SRC and GRASAC dues.
Thank you, Collins. Well, speaking to some students at the university, they say they are paying 25% more.
Nothing has reflected so far. Our STS, there's nothing on it. And then the people of University of Ghana have no hope that it will reflect, because there have been instances where we have been tricked into taking things that will cost us, and then we are getting no refund when we submit our concerns to them. So honestly, right now, I would say that 80% of the school don't even think that the refunding will happen. Personally, I don't think it will happen. There will be a trick or something about next semester or next year, and then eventually we'll just forget about it and then nothing will happen. Because I have friends who are currently off campus because if they paid the school fees and then the hostel fees, they will not get what to eat for the semester. So people are actually waiting for the refund so that they can actually get accommodation, because right now they are using the accommodation money to be as like feeding money.
So for mine, I checked so far, it hasn't reflected yet. So we would like the school to work on it as soon as possible, so that, because it's actually affecting students, some having problems with registration and stuff because of the increment. So we'll plead with the university to actually work on it as soon as possible, so it will aid in our registration. Thank you.
Let's do some politics now. Former Finance Minister Dr. Amin Adam is hitting back at Twitter's linking Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to Ghana's economic woes, calling the claims, quote, inaccurate and politically motivated, unquote. With the NPP presidential primaries just around the corner, Dr. Amin Adam is throwing his weight behind the former Vice President, arguing that the current government's economic gains are built on foundations laid by the previous NPP administration under the leadership of the Vice President then. We'll hear from him shortly, but first listen to General Secretary of the party, Justin Frimpong Kodia, on the upcoming primaries. He spoke to me on the Joy News channel on the Desk Show.
Many individuals have done their own report. Some regions have done their own report, but the Microcure report is the mother report that the party is working on. Other reports, for also encompasses what is captured in Microcure's reports. But we are working on all aspects. We are not leaving any stone unturned. And the most, as I indicated, important thing is to implement the recommendation from the report. And I can assure you, the party in 2026, you'll be happy. At least the things that the NPP is going to do in terms of our internal elections, how we are going to conduct it, the atmosphere, the free, fair, transparent manner that we want. For every elections, what matters most is events leading to the D-Day. How you conduct yourself, how you organize meetings, how you organize your album.
We're going to hear from former Finance Minister Dr. Maame Adam, who maintains that the former Vice President Dr. Bawumia remains the best candidate to lead the NPP.
So how can you tell me that an economy that grew at 5.7% was a bad economy? That economy crumbled.
Yeah.
And now, we face economic difficulties. We were in crisis, which were not caused by us. But we implemented policies, some of the policies even to our disadvantage. For example, the domestic debt exchange program. People got angry about that. You saw the demonstrations, elderly people demonstrating. And people got angry. These were policies we had to implement to save the country. And we ended the year demonstrating that our policies were really good policies.
Well, Dr. Amin also acknowledges the role of the Bank of Ghana and the Gold Board in managing gold sales on the international market, but alleges that some of the gold being sold is sourced from illegal mining activities.
If you read recently the new framework for forex management issued by the Bank of Ghana, it is very clearly stated that this government, the Bank of Ghana's forex management policy, is anchored on the domestic gold purchase program.
Yes.
When was the domestic gold purchase program introduced? In 2022. In 2022. And that is the anchor. It was Bawumia who introduced and implemented through the Bank of Ghana the domestic gold purchase program. And the NDC acknowledges that. You can go and read the memo to Parliament on the passing of the Gold Board Act.
Mohammed Amin Adam was former finance minister. Now, what was expected to be a bumper harvest season for farmers in the Sisala East municipality of the Upper West region has rather turned into a period of intense hardship as thousands of bags of maize remain stuck in warehouses across the area. Some farmers have been left with no option but to store their produce in the open. That's more on the following report.
The farmers are not only devastated by the situation but are also discouraged from continuing large-scale commercial maize farming. From the municipal capital to the most remote parts of the municipality, farmers are left in limbo with their bags of maize sitting idle and yearning for the market. Commercial farmers in the Upper West region, including the 2025 Upper West Best Woman Farmer, Damata Yusuf, say the losses incurred during the farming season are enormous due to the poor sales.
Last year, at this time, maize was 500 Ghana cedis a bag. That's 100 kg. But this year, like this, even 300 you will not get.
I have already incurred losses this farming season. Even though I am yet to sell my bags of maize, the current market price is a clear indication that I will lose a significant amount of money.
How will I be happy to go in for next year harvest? It's a problem. So I don't know, many people will drop out from the farming this year.
Farmers are also grappling with harvesting challenges as laborers who usually assist with harvesting have left the area for other places.
Fatal Bayaga's reports there. Now let's do what's trending. Adobia Saris in the studio with me. Adobia,
yes,
what's trending?
Constitution Day is in the trends. It's actually the first item there. Now, individuals and institutions are offering felicitations to the nation by posting Happy Constitution Day Ghana. People have done flyers and all sorts of artworks. Now, I saw a question on X which piques my interest. You will have a copy of a constitution because you and I know why. Council also has a copy of a constitution. But the question the person was asking is, do you have a copy of the Constitution of Ghana? Which I think is very interesting because people should have.
Every Ghanaian actually should own one and know what the law says.
Okay, exactly. So that's the question.
But it came to part 93.
Where
were
I
you?
do have one.
Where were you?
My parents were yet to meet, so I wasn't around.
All right, Adovia, thank you. And that's how we wrap up the Midday Bulletin here on Joy 99.7 FM.